So my title is Vice President and General Manager of Enterprise Sales, which is, I don't know, I kind of think of it as I have the greatest job in Samsung, at least that I can think of. I run a team of enterprise sales folks who are the folks that are out calling on our most strategic enterprise customers across multiple verticals, across multiple markets, around the entire U.S. So these are the ones that are out evangelizing about Samsung's technology and specifically our role in the enterprise space.
Excellent. So let's look back 2014. Obviously a big year for Samsung, just like the year before that and the year before that. But maybe you can give us a sort of high-level wrap-up of the major initiatives that Samsung undertook.
Sure. I look back at 2014 as an incredible transformative year for Samsung. It was the year that Samsung really decided, in my opinion, to get serious about the enterprise business. And we basically changed everything we did about the way we develop our products for B2B, about how we go to market for B2B, how we're organized from a sales organization from B2B, and some of the solutions that we're creating. So it's really been an exciting year. We launched a number of new products. First time ever, Samsung built a product specifically for the enterprise environment, and that was the Galaxy Tab Active. So back a year and a half ago or so, we put together a focus group of a bunch of our top enterprise customers and asked them what they needed in a tablet, and the result of that workshop was the Galaxy Tab Active, which is a ruggedized tablet device that is built entirely from the ground up for enterprise. It's mil-spec standard. You can drop it from 6 feet. You can run it over with a truck. You can get it wet, and it's really built from hardware and software. It's the first tablet with a removable battery. And what's interesting, we're now seeing deployments of that. I don't know if you're familiar with a company called Asplund. Asplund is the guys that drive around those big orange trucks and cut down trees. Asplund is now deploying that tablet in every one of their trucks. And that is absolutely, Asplund tree cutting job is the second most dangerous job in the country right now. So it's a very hostile environment. This tablet has to work flawlessly, and it has to be very rugged. So we did that. And then I think the other big thing that we did was really focus on services and support. We've launched something called Samsung 360 Services, which is our focus around delivering support services, solutions for our end customers that really close this loop and really help us deliver complete solutions to our customers. We have great products. We have great software. We have great technology. The one thing we didn't have was a strong services offering. And with Samsung 360 Services, we now have that. Many of you are in the enterprise space for a long time. You may know we hired Robin Bienfait, who was the CIO of BlackBerry for many years. Previous to that, CIO of AT&T. We've hired her, brought her on to help us build that services strategy and implement it. So it's really exciting.
Excellent. I actually was on the show floor and I checked out that Galaxy Tab you were mentioning yesterday, and we're used to these rugged tablets just looking ugly. But that was a slick-looking machine. I mean, it looks rugged, but it's something I want to use. It's something I don't mind being seen using. It was actually, I mean, it was a Samsung rugged tablet.
Yeah, and there's so many applications for it. If you look across all the different verticals that we focus on, oil and gas and energy and transportation and aviation, we're putting it in inside cockpits for flight attendants and crew members to communicate with the planes and communicate with the rest of the crew. So a lot of exciting things with that device.
So you mentioned Samsung 360 Services, and that was what launched late last year. I do want to touch on and focus on that and talk about some of the major activities and plans around it for the enterprise. I mean, how is it specifically going to enable the enterprise?
In a number of ways. So we launched it in October of last year. So 2015 is really the year that we'll bring the solution to market. And it spans a couple of different areas. One is just basic support of the devices. We're now deploying so many devices in the enterprise space. So the ability to offer solutions around break fix and maintenance of your devices from the OEM that knows those devices better than anyone, I think is a really strong offering. But beyond that, there's a lot of other things. One of the biggest challenges, you guys probably know this better than I do, one of the biggest challenges we have with getting adoption for Android is availability of applications. There's a lot of applications out there, enterprise applications that have been written for other platforms, and getting enterprise customers or third-party developers to port those applications to Android is sometimes challenging. We'll have an organization of R&D folks that will help with the migration of those applications to Android. So that's really there to help fuel the adoption of Android. And then around solutions. Solutions, to me, is the biggest. We focused, the last 4 years that I've been at Samsung, enterprise mobility has focused so much around security. Right, securing the devices, making sure that they're manageable and safe to be used in the enterprise environment. We've pretty much solved that challenge now between what we launched a couple years ago with Safe, we launched Knox most recently. We now have a solid security solution. But so now the conversation is changing to what are the solutions? How can I get the most value out of this device? Lots of discussions around line of business applications. So having a team that can help create those solutions, work with our alliance partners, work with the development community, and bring those solutions to market is going to help really drive further adoption and really drive value to the enterprise customers.
Now, I'm a devices guy, so I definitely want to make sure, since I have you here, that we touch on devices. And we'll start with wearables. It's a big story here. It's going to be a big story going forward. What are some of the wearable trends you're seeing? And what I'm most interested in is how are they how is Samsung embracing these trends for developing the Gear series?
Yeah, I think that's one of the areas that Samsung is really leading in, and you see it so much in already the wearables that we've launched. We're really trying to lead that category in both the kinds of devices, the different platform of devices, whether it's on your wrist or other ways you might wear a device, you'll see coming. And I think the big issue around wearables is finding the solutions, finding the applications that the wearables can address. And that's an exciting conversation now. There's so many different areas, whether we're talking about healthcare or transportation, manufacturing, where wearables can really make a difference. I think about wearables for healthcare so much. Just to put it in a personal, my mother is she has Parkinson's disease. And I don't know if any of you have experience with that, but it's so dependent on medication. She takes hundreds and hundreds of pills every day. And being able to take those pills at precisely the right time is so important. Well, and she also has issues with balance and movement and things like that. So one of the problems is she has a little beeper that goes off in her pocket that tells her when it's time to take her pills. Well, the problem is Parkinson's affects your cognitive abilities too. So that beeper may go off, she may not hear it, she may press it and forgot that she's pressed it and not take the medication. And then another hour goes by before she realizes she's taken that medication. She needs to take that medication, and it really screws up the whole balance of the medication. So one of the ideas is if you're wearing a device around your wrist that's telling you when to take that medicine, but now it's linked with a smart tablet dispenser that says when that device goes off, I actually have to touch the right part, the right hourly compartment of the device, and it knows that I've opened that compartment and taken those pills. Now I can really change the way, the quality of her life and maintain her medication. I can also track her movements. Falling is such a big problem with people with Parkinson's, and be able to, and a lot of other diseases as well. So to be able to track her movements and know whether she's in a good situation or not. So that's one example, and there's so many examples where I think wearables are going to really transform not only healthcare but other industries as well.
Well, that's just it. I mean, what problem does this device solve? Specifically into the enterprise. I mean, I've heard murmurs about that, and even here on stage, I talked about the Gear series and wearables for the enterprise. What is Samsung doing, or is Samsung going to be doing anything about making the Gear series more applicable to the enterprise, or making it easier for the enterprise to embrace wearables like the Gear?
There it's about really reaching out to the development community, and that's what we're doing very strongly. Is we've opened up this device, the APIs, the SDKs for this device, and made them widely available, made them very easy to get access to. And then we're out in the development community sponsoring activities and encouraging their ideas. I mean, this is an open ecosystem. We need to embrace that, and we want those ideas. So the more that we can embrace that ecosystem and encourage them to develop applications. I meet with customers every day and talk about wearables. I've got the CIO for Citigroup, whose R&D team has developed a trading app that runs on our Gear S, so their traders can actually get immediate trading data right to their wrist. I mean, those are the kinds of things that will continue. It's still early. Mm-hmm. Wearables are so early right now, and I think it's got to take some time for that community to kind of figure out how they're going to use them, invest in some development, and then we're going to see an explosion in that space. I really do believe that.
Excellent, but we're not really early with smartphones, though, and the smartphone market seems to be mature, but it's also a very tough market, and you guys are the global leader, but I think 2014 wasn't the best of years for Samsung, and I want to know, I mean, how are you guys, or how is Samsung sort of evolving to stay relevant in that market, you know, to not become an also-ran in the smartphone market?
Yeah, 2014 was a little bit tough for smartphones, pretty much across the board. But I believe that we're constantly investing. One of the things at Samsung that has amazed me in the 4 years I've been here is the relentless pursuit of innovation. We just continue to innovate new devices, new form factors, new software capabilities, and we're not going to stop doing that. We're going to continue. Sometimes we get dinged a little bit from our enterprise customers because we have too many devices out there. And that's sort of the trade-off, because we want to be seen as an innovator. That's one of our biggest differentiators, and so we're going to continue to do that. What makes it relevant to the enterprise is now taking it from just being a really great device that you want to use, but wrapping all of the enterprise capabilities around it to make it easier for the enterprises to use. So whether that's security, which we've done through Safe and Knox, or whether it's solutions, applications that we're working with our third-party development community to bring those solutions to market, to whether it's creating a support environment through 360 services, which makes it much easier to support. Those are all things that are very relevant. We want to be seen and accepted as a very enterprise-friendly company. And that's really how we differentiate ourselves.
Now, we touched on wearables, smartphones, talked about services, but Samsung does just about everything. I was at your press conference, and there were washing machines and the connected home, all refrigerators, vacuum cleaners, tablets, PCs, all of it. So I'm interested in, with Samsung, I mean, how are you sort of leveraging your entire product portfolio for the enterprise and for consumers as well? And what I mean by that is, what's the advantage of having a Samsung everything, having a Samsung refrigerator, having a Samsung smartphone? How are you guys making that it's something that is attractive to consumers and enterprise?
Well, literally, I was walking to the conference and my wife was texting me saying our washing machine just broke today and leaking all over the floor, and she needed to buy a new one. What kind should she buy? I said, really?
Yeah.
So we will own a Samsung washing machine within the next 3 hours, probably. But to put it in terms of enterprise, one of the really most exciting things that we kind of did in 2014 and are really taking to market in 2015 is we brought together two very different organizations. Samsung has been, Samsung Mobility. I joined 4 years ago from BlackBerry. We had very little enterprise presence. But Samsung's been doing enterprise for a long time, 15 years or more on the IT side. And for so long, those two organizations operated as separate business units. Well, as of January 1st, Samsung is now integrated, and we're now one business unit in the U.S., Samsung Electronics America, where we have responsibility for the entire portfolio, from smartphones to connected tablets to desktop monitors and PCs and large format displays and everything else. And what that does, and now my sales organization, I've integrated that into one sales team that now has responsibility and the capability to sell everything. And that gives us a much different perspective when we walk into an enterprise account. We can now talk about everything from the device that's in your pocket, to the device that's on your wrist, to the device that's on the wall, to the device that's on your desk. And that really it differentiates us from all of our competition. None of our other, excuse me. I know it's towards the end of CES when I start to lose my voice. Happens every year. Excuse me. But that gives us that really differentiates it. Nobody else can offer that breadth of portfolio. And you start to see some interesting things. So last year we announced curved TVs, which were really cool. And this year we're announcing super ultra high definition. So how does that matter to the enterprise? Well, what you see if you go into our booth, this year we're showing curved desktop monitors and ultra high definition monitors. Why does that matter? Well, if I can give you an ultra high definition monitor in a 32-inch size, orient it in a portrait, and put that in front of a developer, a coder, now the developer can shrink the font size, get more lines of code on the screen at once, and that improves the efficiency of his or her ability to code. That's a huge difference. And that has a lot, so I've been meeting with companies like Google and Oracle and Facebook, and you wouldn't believe the impact that has on productivity of developers. Just that little thing. The other thing is curved displays. Is it useful? Is it meaningful? If you haven't seen it yet in your living room, it is truly amazing. But you put that in front of a knowledge worker on their desktop, it completely changes the eye fatigue. Now they can look across a 32-inch screen and their eye isn't refocusing from far away to near to far as they look across. It's been proven. We've done studies with doctors to prove that the eye fatigue as you move across the screen is much less. So those little things that maybe you don't realize that we've done on the consumer side have dramatic impact on the enterprise side. And what's really nice is now we've brought them together under one unified organization and be able to bring those to market with the enterprise. And I think that's what you're going to see in 2015 is us really take that message strongly. You'll see us rebrand our enterprise story to be focused on unifying all those different technologies and delivering it to the enterprise and wrapping it around with services and solutions. So 2015 is going to be an exciting year for us.
Excellent, excellent. Well, we're running low on time, so I have a couple more questions. One, this one will be off the record. If you could tell me all about the Galaxy S6 and the Note 5, I'd love to know. Off the record? Between you and me. No, you don't have to answer that. I know. Sometimes, yeah, you might slip up.
I can neither confirm nor deny that there might be a device sometime in the future.
Excellent. Fair enough. So you were already, you gave us your predictions as sort of predictions for 2015, but I wonder, coming out of CES, where Samsung is probably the largest company showcasing here, or at least has the largest product portfolio that they've announced, what do you want people to think of Samsung coming out of this show? This is a consumer show. And we're here talking about B2B, and it's always the challenge for a while is this show is starting to turn more B2B-ish in its nature, which is great. I love it. I come here, I have just dozens and dozens of B2B meetings. What I want people to walk away from this conversation and from this week and from further conversations is that Samsung is truly now enterprise ready. We're ready to serve your needs. Everything from not just mobility, but as I said, desktop monitors, displays, printing technology. How many of you knew that Samsung made printers? Of course. But that's a huge part of our business as well. So that's really what I want, and I want you to know that we are investing extremely heavily. We have 1 in 4 workers at one in 4 employees at Samsung work in R&D. We spend over $440 million in R&D every year. And for so long, that a lot of that has been focused on consumer. As we turn a lot of that resource to the enterprise, it's going to be amazing what you're going to see. I heard an interesting stat recently. Samsung invents something new every 18 minutes. And that we are the second largest patent holder in the US, second only IBM. The reason those things are relevant to me is
It says that it shows Samsung's commitment to innovation. It shows that we're creating the technology that is going to be the future of B2B. And as we put our focus on enterprise, we put our focus on solving the most critical problems for you, I think there's really nothing that we can't do. So I'm excited for it.
Excellent. Sounds like a great note to end on.
Yeah, well, thanks for your time.
No, thank you for your time.